morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Attic Treasures, etc. And I'm going to try something a little bit different today. It's Make Ahead Monday. And I have here a newspaper section from February 10th, 1952. Now, I got this in a big box. We were at an estate sale last summer, and this lady was just selling this big box full of old newspapers and magazines and old scrapbooks and stuff like that. And I started to look through it, and I thought, boy, I really should probably get this for $5 or whatever it was. And I was originally going to use this just to wrap up a journal that I was selling. But when I started to look through it, I noticed that there were some really cool things in there. So this particular section is talking about Seattle's first 100 years, if you can see that. And the inside of it has a bunch of photographs, kind of in a scrapbook form, like this. So I started looking through the photographs and cutting some of them out. And I took one of them and I made this journal card. So this is a photograph from 1909, these ladies with some children in a stroller, just doing some sightseeing. So I made a journal card out of it, and I thought it looked really cool. And I took my Dymo labeler and put a sentiment here for dear friends. And let's see, can you see this? There we go. Okay, so one tip about the Dymo labeler, I'm just going to tell you right now, don't use Fabri-Tac to attach anything from a Dymo labeler. And the reason is because Fabri-Tac is an acetone-based glue, and acetone will melt the plastic and destroy any of the paint for the writing on it. So just use art glitter glue or something like that. Okay, so what I did with this newspaper is I went through it and I cut out some of the images that I like. This is a horse-drawn carriage. This is, you know, these are, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so these are really old images that they decided to put in the paper. There's the first auto, 3rd Avenue Theater, the first airplane flight from 1910, and just a bunch of these old black and white newspaper photos that I just thought were really kind of cool. And I thought, well, you know, it's Make Ahead Monday. I could attach these to a substrate because they're obviously they're pretty flimsy. And look at this one. Isn't this precious? Can you see this okay? Oh, sorry. There we go. That's a little bit better. The kiss. President Woodrow Wilson's Seattle visit. These are some flyboys from 1924. I love that. And then some Gold Rush. They're getting ready to leave Seattle and go to Alaska. And then I also found some photographs that I thought were kind of interesting of people, and as well as some ads that I thought would just be fun to have. You know, maybe just as a base, maybe make some labels or something like that. And then these lovely ladies, these fashionistas, are from an ad for iMagnin. Does anybody remember iMagnin stores? So I thought it would be fun to have that. And even this little trim that I thought could make it in a journal. And then I also, these were also on my desk. So my plan is to take all of these and attach them to a substrate for use in future projects. Let me back down here. When I was at a thrift store one day, and I haven't used this very much, but I have this giant pad of newsprint. So what I thought I would do is take a piece of the newsprint and glue all of these images onto here and then seal them so that later on they can be used in other projects. So with this one, I sealed it with Distress Collage Medium, and then also put a layer of wax paper on it, just to kind of give it a nice finish, to make sure that it wasn't gonna, you know, get damaged in any way. But I'm just about out of the Distress Collage Medium, and I just recently bought this Liquitex matte medium, so I hope it's going to work as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear off my desk and put a layer of this newsprint down, and then just start gluing and seeing what we come up with, because these are just rough cut, fussy cuts. I didn't, you know, try to get them real even or anything, because I thought, well, once they're attached and I can use them later, then I could do the final cutting. But isn't this a cute journal card? I really like it. But I don't necessarily want to make all of them into journal cards. I could use them, you know, in make clusters out of them, or make some sort of a base, or a, you know, for a journal cover. You know, something that would look nice on a journal cover. So we'll just see what it, you know, what comes of this. All right, so I'll be right back. Okie doke, so I have all of the, well, not all of them, I had to leave a couple behind, but I have a lot of the pieces laid out where I'm going to glue them. So basically I'm just going to get started gluing. And so what I'm doing is just trying to put these pieces from the newspaper onto this sheet of newsprint, with the intention that I'm hoping it will make each piece a little bit stronger. And then when I go to use it as a base, or, you know, something like that, then, you know, a journal card or whatever, I can store it until I'm ready to use it. So in addition to being glued on, it's also going to get probably 2 coats of the matte medium, and then some wax paper on top of that. I'm going to get some of these little pieces on, because I'm using a phone book here as a glue base, and then I can just throw that page away and then get a new page. So I was really excited to find all these neat images on the in the newspaper, and I have quite a bit more newspapers from that era. I'll have to look back and see. It was just kind of a surprise to discover what all was in there, because I hadn't really checked it out too well before. I thought, well, you know, why not use it? Don't just use it as packing material. Although it is kind of cool to get something in the mail that you've bought and also discover that it has a neat vintage newspaper in there as well. So that's kind of fun. All right, we're going to get rid of this. I'm going to use the other side. Waste not, want not, right? Okay, let's get this pretty lady on there. And I also can't believe I found this giant pad of newsprint. I've already used it a few times to make sort of vintagey looking reproduction ephemera, and it's kind of fun. You can use it to, you can cut it down to like the size of a piece of copy paper, just 8.5 by 11 or whatever size you use, and then print like letters and things like that on there. I love these vintage clothing ads. So I think it's probably a good idea just to go ahead and give it a little bit of a brayer. So I think with the matte medium and the wax paper, I'll be able to store these for when I'm ready to use them. So I hope everybody's doing okay. It is pouring down rain here, literally. Just our lights have been flickering on and off. We may lose power. A lot of the rivers are at flood stage, or will be at flood stage before the end of the day. And we live on an island with a bridge that crosses like a, I don't know, some body of water. Some, you know, it looks like a river, but it's like a slough. And I don't really think that we're in too much danger of being stuck on the island, but just in case. There is one area as the bridge is going over this little body of water that it could potentially cover the road. So, you know, we've lived here for about 4 years, I guess, and we've never been stuck on the island. But we have everything we need, so, you know, in case that does happen, it wouldn't be necessarily the end of the world. But a lot of the fields and stuff around here definitely get flooded. Okay, I'm going to glue the rest of these on off camera so as not to bore you to death, and then I'll be back. All right, so I have all of the pieces glued onto the newsprint, and I cut them down into some manageable sizes. So now I'm just going to take some of this matte medium and start giving this a go. So I've never used this before, but I have some now. So what I'm going to do is I want to put a couple of coats on each piece, just to make sure that it gets good coverage, and also just to give it a little bit of extra strength. It kind of seems to enhance the drawing a little bit too. Oh, I love these old ads. I just love fashion ads in general. Okay, so far I'm liking the way this is going on. It's not so thick that it's, you know, glopping up or anything like that. It doesn't need to be watered down, I don't think, in my opinion anyway. I didn't want to water it down because already newsprint is pretty thin, and of course there's going to be some warpage. But once it's ironed with the wax paper, can lay it flat, and you know, any pieces that need to be flattened further, I can run through my Cuttlebug die and embossing machine that I've had forever. Like I said earlier, it is rainy and windy, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we lost power. Okay, so yesterday we lost power because of a storm, and we didn't get it back until early this morning, and we still don't have any internet, so I don't know when I'm going to be able to post this video. But what I've been doing is I've just been playing around with the different types of sealers. So I have some Mod Podge matte that I have in this little container, and then Mod Podge gloss, and then this Liquitex acrylic matte medium, which I use this as a first coat to cover all of the images. And I have to say that I'm not that excited about it. The texture is kind of gritty almost. It's not really as smooth as I'm used to, like with the Distress Collage medium, which I'm basically out of right now, or either of the Mod Podges. So what I did just to kind of play with it is I took some of the Mod Podge gloss, and I went over some of these images, like this one here. And to me, I just really like the way that looks better than just this plain. I also experimented with this one where it started out with that acrylic medium as the base, and then on this side, this one here, I used the Mod Podge matte, and over here I used the gloss. And they're really pretty similar, but I just like the texture better. And then same with this one. This was done with the Mod Podge gloss over that acrylic medium, and then these were done with the Mod Podge matte. And again, it still has, I don't know that I see a whole lot of difference between the gloss and the matte and the Mod Podge. But what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and put the wax paper on these and see what we come up with there, and then go forward. So I'm just going to cover that like so. And I forgot to grab my towel, so I'll do that. I'm sure most of you have seen me do this technique before. It's one of my favorite techniques. So I have my iron set on cotton and no steam. And you just have to be kind of careful and patient, because sometimes the wax paper will stick right away. The object being that you just want to leave the wax behind and peel away the paper that the wax, you know, is transferred onto on the roll. But you don't want to do it too long, because you don't want to also leave the paper, this being the paper I'm talking about. So it's not done until you can feel resistance. See, you can see resistance over on this side. So I'm going to call this one basically done because it's giving me some resistance pulling off. And that's what you want, where it just leaves the wax behind, but not the paper. But it didn't get up here on her head. So I'm going to leave that on for a minute and just cover it back up with a towel and do this side and just up here. Anyway, yeah, if you leave it on too long, and I've had that happen where I wasn't paying attention or I just thought I needed more time. And what happens is that the paper stays on and you can peel some of it away, but then the rest of it you have to kind of pull off with tweezers, and it's really a time-consuming and frustrating process. Okay, so this side is perfect. There. And now this is really sealed nicely. So when I go to fussy cut out these two images, it's already got the sealer on it, and I can, you know, sew on it and stuff like that without worrying about ripping the paper. Now this one, she still didn't get a lot of adhesion there, so I'm going to give her another try. So yeah, we had a branch land in our backyard in our septic mound, and it pierced like 4 inches at the base of the branch straight into the mound because it was so windy yesterday. When my husband pulled it out today, yeah, it was about 4 inches deep into it, and the whole branch was still sitting, you know, was upright. So there was a lot of wind yesterday. Flooding everywhere. Maybe you've seen it on the news. We're in western Washington, and we had what's called, I guess, an atmospheric river. It's caused a lot of damage. So thankfully, we don't have any damage to our roof or anything like that, but a lot of the surrounding towns, some of them have had to be evacuated, and I guess some pretty serious flooding and downed trees everywhere. Okay, this is still not really cooperating. So I'm going to get a fresh piece of wax paper just in case that's the problem. And it may be too that the wax paper doesn't want to stick to this stuff like it does to the Mod Podge. So that's an interesting development. Okay, well, I'm going to call that done. We got a little bit of resistance, but not a lot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and work on the rest of the images that I have. So I'll see you soon. Alrighty, so we have power, we have internet, so hopefully I'll be able to get this video uploaded and into YouTube today. So I have taken all these pieces and I've applied the Mod Podge matte and then covered over with a layer of wax paper. And I really like the way these turned out. They feel almost like fabric. So I have quite a few here that I'll be able to work with to make focal points or to make journal cards out of. I mean, look at this. This is so cool. The railroad from 1890. That's where these photographs were from in this 1952 newspaper. Except for this one. This is out of a 1935 music magazine. So I have all these I can work with. But because I couldn't leave well enough alone, I thought, well, what if I add a little bit of color? So before I put the wax paper on some of these, I added just a little tint of color. See his red tie? And then this lovely lady, I added a little color in her hat. And here, for this one, I added some color to his suit and her coat and bag and dress. And for this lovely lady, I added some brown, so it looks kind of like a brown tweed. I actually used vintage photo ink, and then I think this one was tattered straw for her hat and her scarf. And then because I was having so much fun, I made this tag. I colored her, I used worn lipstick here for her, the polka dot part of her skirt and her hat. So I made this little tag. And then I thought, well, why not? Why not do one of these on camera? I'll show you how I did it. So basically, I'm just using some wax paper as a palette. And if you're going to do color like what I'm going to do here, you definitely want to do it after you put the Mod Podge on it, because Mod Podge, of course, is a wet white glue, and it will smear everything if you do it afterwards. So I'm going to use, for her dress, or her suit, I'm going to use Salty Ocean. So this is Salty Ocean Distress ink, and I'm just going to put some here. And then I'm also just going to, I'm going to take this pad and just start laying on a little bit of ink. And then what I'm going to do is use my water brush to spread it around. Okay, now I'm going to dry it with my heat tool. So interesting, as I'm doing this, I'm realizing that I think I had already put the wax paper on here. So it's interesting to me that the color was able to actually stick. And I think maybe when I heated it up, it just kind of melted into the, you know, the wax. It kind of went into the wax from the wax paper. Anyway, so she just has a hint of blue on her suit. And I think that looks really cool. Can you see? So just a hint of blue. Now these other two ladies, I have not put any wax paper on. So we're just gonna see how much more vivid this color becomes. Just putting some on here. And it doesn't matter if I'm outside the lines because I can wipe that off. And also if I fussy cut around her, then that'll be cut off anyway. Give her a little bit of a dry. Okay, she's done. And I just really like the way that looks. It just reminds me of just old-fashioned photo tinting. And I'm going to wait to put the wax on until after I color her dress, which I'm not really sure what I'm going to do right now. But having done all this, I'm just excited about the possibilities of using old newspapers to put in junk journals, just the photographs from them, or the different ads, and anything that you can find. Just you know, put them in your stash and play with them a little bit. I mean, why not? And then when you have some time to work with them, then you can make some beautiful embellishments for your junk journals. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to hit the notification bell so that you know when I upload new content. And hopefully we won't have any more storms anytime soon, so that I don't lose power and internet and everything else. And always, everybody, let the serendipity find you. So have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.